The legend! He's back. And firstly, I got smokes and piss and a little speed to spice things up.
Don't call. Don't call her.
There's no waking him from his stupor. His mind is elsewhere.
Tequila.
A drop in temperature, an easy flow there. An empty street. Before you, a thoroughfare unjammed with lorries. No more drivers smoking on hitch steps. Just silence. Chemically sweetened. Across the road, a forgotten bus stop. Corrosion has opened a hole in its roof. An elm tree watches over the building. Its branches are dripping with rain and snow. The road is smooth and motley, craters filled with a black asphalt. The asphalt, first laid, is grey already. A row of tenements are under construction in the distance. A tub warm with water, white with soap. A man bathes while radio waves transmit the lottery numbers. 4, 18, 21, 4, 1. A modern washing machine rattles a drawer full of silverware. His boyfriend is on his way home. He brings tins of meat and vegetables with him. Their pockets are heavier with money, but only slightly. Number 312D. Young girls used to come here, huddled up, hoping for more warmth than their thin coats give them. The bus took them to school. It has not run for 8 years. There were not enough girls to sustain its cost. Craters pocked the surface. Children played in them until heavy trucks full of black pitch rolled in. The landowners have filled the craters with money. It is a vital artery of the flow of trade. There's one bump on the road. A dead dog lies flat about 200 paces away, right at the turn. Tragedy comes from the wheels of a fast RCM vehicle, hurrying to work. The cold washes over you. The sound of the sea has grown distant. The wind moves the aerosol. A detective stands behind the boom barrier. A breeze moves a curl of his hair. Weather has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been a vast underground catacomb network.
The little castle? The reigning lord must have come upon some really tough times to let it sleep in such decrepitude.
The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic gauntlets.
Congratulations. That's the gauntlets down then. We're doing good on the armor collection front.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. The carving on the doors remain unchanged, closed with a padlock. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a
I don't think that's good.
High above, the doors remain. Winter, slow to let go of Revachol, flecks some more wet snow from above. The snow falls lazily, making the beach sand paler still, mixing with the rust-colored sewage runoff. And to think, it seemed as though it were already spring. The melting snow seeps through your thin clothes. Grandmothers don't let their grandchildren out dressed so lightly in this weather. You look around. More winding coastlines lined with abandoned buildings, crumbling piers, salt water lapping at their dark piles, grey and red forgotten city blocks, what remains of the pre-revolutionary effort to gentrify the coast. The waters turn black, coal city in the shadow of Saint Martin, a boom town, back when coal extracted from countless shafts near the city was needed to power Revachol. No more. The coal was supplanted by petroleum from the ocean floor and hydropower from the Esperance. Everything crumbled. These days, only the weakest remain in Coal City. Their hopes of getting rich linger in the defunct shafts under their feet. Below the old mines, l'Océan Municipal, Revachol's underground cemetery, Le Petit Rat, braved the underground passageways, trying to get to Le Royaume. Children under 14, they go underground looking for artifacts to sell to foreign museums, and for fabled relics. Their parents let them. They go deeper. After rubies, melchiorite, lapis lazuli, plundered from Safre and Seol during the time of the suzerain, in the burial chambers of the kings, Grand Old Philip, Guillaume II, and even in the mausoleum of Philip the Opulent. 2 kilometers underground, in a winding shaft along whose walls mirrors have been placed, so that daylight may eternally fall upon the richest of all the kings. The mausoleum contains untold quantities of gold, and that special, purest of the pure magenta cocaine, favored by Revacholian royalty. Did someone say untold quantities of cocaine? Drop everything immediately and go looking for this hoard. Few Petit Rats return from the shafts. Even fewer find what they're looking for. A small child steps out of the black tunnel with silver trinkets in her pockets. All around her, white snow on the extinguished coke furnaces and on the weather-worn shacks where fathers beat their sons after drinking. The snow melts on your fingers, turning to water. The canal you crossed to get here and beyond it. Martinez proper, the district the police forgot to police. There is laughter, lights, attempts at entrepreneurial activity, cynicism. Someone is scraping snow off their windshield at the roundabout, in the midst of which a statue of Philip III serves as a destination for grade school field trips and a fine perch for winter birds. A fenced-off yard. There's a truck belonging to a logistics company parked next to the gate. Bright light from a building behind the fence reflects off its hood. The abandoned church, one of 2 remaining stave churches, which were collectively called Les Sept Sœurs. The other 6 sisters were destroyed during the Revolution. A serpentine strip of land weaving its way into the Martinez Inlet. Unfortunates on the run from the law, from themselves, sometimes hide out on nearby islets. Little dots in the ocean that are occasionally submerged when the tide is high and the weather foul. The remains of a camp on a jagged piece of rock, a tent, old dishes and cutlery, long since abandoned. A hermit crab scuttles among the debris, looking for a new shell. Further out, the lights burn bright on Resurrection, way beyond Martinez. a popular spa destination for ample-bodied Ozon kids with equally ample pockets. Then there's Ozon, but the snow falls too thick. You cannot see that far. The Bay of Revachol, vastness, great depth, over 1,200 meters at its deepest. Water air brinier than hair. It is crisscrossed by huge cargo ships bearing company logos. Wild Pines, Zam, Mauryan, and at the farthest reaches of the Bay of Revachol, the shadow of the coalition warship Archer, on perpetual patrol duty, ready to unleash artillery fire if you were to rise up against the market. You shudder. The raised motorway, 881, separating Martinez from Jamrock. Vehicles whoosh past one another day and night, while those who reside in the labyrinthine alleyways beneath the motorway attempt to carry on with their lives in the snow and the slush. And south of the 881 is the Pox. Was once a park, a place for reflection and recuperation for the patients of the old military hospital. In the 20s, it was used as a quarantine center during a measles outbreak that killed many children. Most everyone has avoided the hospital and surrounding park ever since. The Pox is completely wild now. Evergreen thickets covered in snow and industrial dust. Feral dogs and even wolves roaming in packs. The police try to keep the deepest corners cordoned off. Heavy drug users do slip through and hole up in the old military hospital, hoping to find something to get high on among the hastily abandoned supplies, or just to overdose in peace. A line of motor garages with armored carapaces hunched in the cold. A mechanic is hard at work, patching up bullet holes in the side of a Capri 40. These are the garages of Precinct 41. Snow settles on the roof of the repurposed silk mill. It serves as your station. Shivering RCM personnel hurry in and out of the main entrance. Around you, the snow continues to fall. To the west, the ocean swells. The stairs descend to central Jamrock. A man named Cooklove has a snow-covered stall there in the market across the bridge. He sells kebab infested with fly larvae to your colleagues who believe eating it will make them immune to food poisoning. Snow falls on the utility district, the library, the florist, the Sarah Mauritian restaurant that offers homemade wine, and also on the brothels and drug dens and the chop shops of the Zemlyaki. All of this built around a lake that formed in a meteorite strike. At the center of this lake, there is a little ship. There are lights at the bottom of its hull. They are lights directed toward the seafloor, looking for something, like whiskers. A chill comes over you, crawling down your back. The sand under your feet is wet. Somewhere in the south, tarpaulin flap in the wind. More coalition aerostatics. Occasionally, lights flash as they maneuver through the falling snow. One large airship carries crates in its belly. Layer upon layer of sand, poisoned with industrial runoff. The storm drainage, hidden bunkers. Rats scuttle. Someone stuffed a big old polar anorak into a concrete pipe under the boardwalk. It would keep you warm. You would probably never happen across it, but who knows?
We should keep moving.
The smell, it's awful and familiar. It doesn't help. You can still smell it. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
Eyes up, detective. Something's not right here.
A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. A cool leather jacket with a bolt of blue? Oh no, this sounds terribly familiar. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into two. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine or 1.5 of spirits. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. He was just about to head home. The first step back home proved to be his last. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is where he came out of himself, drop by drop, when he was unconscious. It took 3, maybe 4 minutes.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
True. It feels disrespectful. Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too?
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
A dead working-class man with a bottle in his hand? Don't deceive yourself. You know who this is.
The woman you met at the book stand? Why do you think it's her husband? I can't see a book. So he took the book to the library, then came back and thought, I'll have one.
Just one drink. I have my cool jacket on. I took the book to the library. I've earned it. The view from the lookout is beautiful.
Damn it. He's definitely someone's husband. Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the parks. They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
A sequence killer? There's nothing that connects those 2 bodies. This is a completely different case. An accident.
What if all of this is staged? He could have seen something that night in the yard.
It's possible, but let's take it step by step. We still haven't identified the man. Oh yes. Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure. Although there's still, from where I stand, I can see 2 options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
A man lies on the board. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness.
writing. I hate writing so much, but I have to get back to it.
The man disappears with a sigh. You do not hear the customary disconnect tone, just silence in the handset. The machine is still waiting for you to dial a number. Seems like it did not have time to swallow the coin. This sometimes happens. Lucky you, the call went too fast for the payphone to register. You can still make a new one without paying. You close your eyes and put your index finger on the rotary dial, then pull down on the number, then move one up, and repeat the motion twice. Strange. This is not how you started before. 414447. The rotary dial feels cold from the sea air. 1117361. Your fingers keep moving like a spider. Every time the ring rotates back with a little ring of metal, like a bell tolling. Yes, 45167451. You are going deeper now, into some unknown place, far away from this island of matter and its telecommunication networks. 451. You have dialed God knows how many numbers. The headset has been waiting silently to relay a signal. Surely nothing can come of this, you think. But it does. A connection. An ultra-long distance call. Your air fills with a crackle, the wash of a strange ocean full of white noise. A little bird starts ringing in there, not like the local calling tone before. No, a small ring in a cage of distortion, far away. A distant network of phones. Calling in the night. The saddest sound in the world. Both pitiful and terrifying. You feel your pulse rising with each ring. Calling still. Ringing by the bedside of a dark but capacious apartment with long windows. You know this to be true. The handset starts slipping from your sweaty palm. Your breathing is heavy. You just do, and you know it is going to hurt. The lieutenant is too far away to hear your yelp. The sea wind blows. You can't. Some strange force is keeping the headset glued to your hand, your ear listening to the ring in the speaker. Calling still. Then the ocean breaks. Out of the depths, a woman's voice emerges. Small. The dearest thing you've ever heard.
Hello? No. It's you, isn't it? It's you. Who is this? Dora. Who is this? The connection is bad.
Dora. The name feels like a gift. A gift that was meant for you, to make it possible to live. And fight.
What? Oh no. Is that you? You're not a revolutionary, Harry. You're drunk. Oh, God. Do you know what time it is? It's so late here. It's 4 o'clock, Harry. I need to wake up in 2 hours. To work. The academy, where I work.
No response, only a sigh. The connection crackles like burning paper.
I'm in my rover, sleeping. No, I want to go to sleep. What do you want to talk about that we haven't talked about already?
This is bad. You feel your right hand on the handset cramping up with pain. She does not answer anymore.
Harry.
Disconnect tone. The machine ran out of money. You dial the number again. 26 pulls of the rotary dial. The machine eats the coin, and a terrifying ocean of distance rustles in your ear. In the middle of it, a familiar ring. Small, distorted. Calling, calling. Put it down. Before it's too late, please. Calling, 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 calling. It looks like she does not want to pick it up, Harry. Stop scaring her. Come on, you know why. Calling, calling.
Harry, please.
Underneath it, she is naked and warm under a blanket. There's a sigh.
Please. I'm going to hang up now, okay?
Phone hanging up. Disconnect tone. You dial the number again, as you've done many times. You remember it well now. 001 41 44 47 11 17 361 451 67 451 451. Calling, 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 and calling for who knows how long, but no one answers. You need to insert more money to call again. The cold metal is hard and your knuckles bleed. Takes your mind away from that voice, for 1 second at least.
That's enough now, officer.
It didn't give you any fun for that money. Your hand is swelling up.
Officer, that's enough. Let's return to work.
That's right. Walk away.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with? I can wash it for you, but it's going to take about a half an hour. Think you can stay put for that long?
Hell yeah.
I could use a breather. It's been another track and field day.
Well, hand it over then, and I'll see what I can do. Must say, I'm proud of this one. It's pretty nice underneath all that filth. I hope you take better care of it than its last owner.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Illisible. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place.
You've graduated to Lawbringer now?
Men with authority have their quirks. Comes with never being second-guessed about anything. So what brings you here, Lawbringer? The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Ask her about the cool sword. Helps to break the ice.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate? Aha! Like snowmen. Two old guys have been wandering around here, nosing sand, talking nonsense about snowmen and the like. I don't really know. Further down the peninsula, I guess. I mean, that's where they were heading. Who else are you looking for besides snowmen? I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate? Aha! Like snow. Two old guys have been right. Not only snowmen, also green men, monkey men, burning rhinos. You get the picture. Don't really know. Aha! Like two old guys. Don't really know. Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Oh? Who? Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
This is what is called a conversation. You don't have to be guarded right now.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely. Mines. Mines. You need mines.
Well, the RCM has to wait for another one because some army folks came by, took it in the middle of the bay and blew it up. The blast was surprisingly timid for such a huge spiky thing.
Spiky. Must have been a naval contact mine.
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks mostly. Not really. I know some basic moves and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that.
That does not go for real men. It does not go for you. Show her. Show her the wonder. Coach means the expression. Not bad.
Sure. It looks as if you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin. It's like a shield.
The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast.
No, I'm afraid not. Tempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check. You would put me in an early grave. Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying.
shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100%. Everything's still cool here. Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about very cool? I like...
The speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph over them.
You keep coming back.
You find your... The box smells like...
Economical, but...
Still here, stuck in this damn jam.
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Cop habit. You look at everything. Hard to say. Again, you find yourself looking at that big old... There's a yellow ribbon tied to one of the branches. Light yellow, faded with time. A tiny splash of color in the blackness of the thicket. Hanging from it, a bronze key.
Huh?
And I need the fatty to get his feet amputated because the smell is killing me. We can't always get what we want.
God damn it, Dennis. You know I can't help it.
Sorry, fucko. These guys won't help you. Looks like you're gonna have to go bush diving. The hawthorn's got a bitch of a bite.
I'm gonna enjoy the sight of you in the bushes out there.
With a loud thud, the old man stands up, pushes the window open, grabs the key from the hawthorn branch and slides it across the table to you. The key is brass. Workshop spare is etched into its bow. The old man closes the window and sits back down in silence.
Come on, man. We were just having some fun. Where's the harm in?
I'm tired of listening to your shit. Don't thank me. I don't give two shits about your key.
Didn't even know it was there. Boys. Idea.
Never even seen it. Someone must have hidden it there before this room became our place.
It's for the blue door in the kitchen. There was a note there that you missed. It said the workshop key is behind the window. It's this key.
I've got... Yes?
Again?
Can I help you?
No, you don't. It's not happening.
The whirling doesn't need more sad style. That's one of the styles it can do without right now. It's for no one. It's a prop. I'm not letting anyone use it after the great karaoke catastrophe of '44. A lot of people got killed because some arsehole wanted to sing karaoke. It's not for bands, it's for clients. Some clients, okay? Not you. Ha! Well, we don't have any tapes. They all got stolen.
man in the vest and the violet shirt stares at the tape you've just given him. He begins to frown. Hard. This is the look of a man who's defeated. He knows he's out of excuses.
Fine, fine. Climb on that stage and do your thing. Just get out of my hair. I'll plug it in for you. Damn this karaoke machine.
I'm having it uninstalled, he mumbles to himself. Oh yeah, time to do the damage.
What is this thing? What, the interior decorating kind? You know, I'm sorry. This is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess? So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
This was mostly about the fucking cardio. Massive cardio here. You'll live till 90, or you get a heart attack from running.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
The stage is all set up for your performance. Feels silent. You can hear the pellets creak under your feet. You feel a little dizzy, a little unsteady suddenly.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
I can see that.
Immediately, a loud feedback noise startles the room. You feel like an amateur. How are you supposed to hold the mic? Should you just sing into it? Where should you stand? Hands. Where do you put your hands? There are some people out there, but mostly a post-meridian slumber has fallen on the premise. Not super lively. It would be wiser to perform in the evening, no? But the choice is yours. Yes, you could always do it in the evening. It will be less scary with a lot of people.
Hey, was there something you needed?
Well, well, bringing in that new bird sure made a difference in his attitude. The man ponders his cooking utensils. You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. It's painted blue. The key fits the dimple lock. It takes a bit of effort to turn it after all these years, but then the lock clicks. The machine. All these mesmerizing machines, just waiting to be plugged back in and played. Feels like it might jump back to life any moment, the lights illuminating the white-robed woman.
You can't fire them up. They are broken. Only that one machine in the main hall works. The Royalist Pinball.
What a dumb name. Royalist Pinball. If they weren't broken, he would kick one of these machines about now.
Some kind of inane pinball theme. Probably related to Messina during the DeLorean age. The history themes are the worst.
The lieutenant grimaces, looking at the machines.
No, I love it. I love pinball. Who doesn't love pinball? Let's move on.
He doesn't.
No.
It's strange that he doesn't like pinball. Kim here is a Zeolite. His people are incredibly dexterous, and they all love pinball. Matter of fact.
Us? Guys?
Stop.
Seoul is an extremely protectionist isola, inaccessible to the rest of mankind, as it has been for over 1,000 years. I have no special knowledge of them, despite my heritage. But even I know that they don't play pinball. They have a rigid class society and a punitive justice system. We should continue with our exploration of this place. It doesn't matter. No, they are not. Let's move on. There's more to this place than pinball machines.
You clearly
Jackpot.
You can almost see the shape of a man and a woman writhing inside, bathed in drug sweat and dirty linens. Bottles lie around everywhere. You lean closer to the peephole instinctively. I bet they're doing something quite unnatural there. Sensationally unnatural.
You can barely see through. Better not to jump to sensationalist conclusions here. The footprints on the floor, however, definitely suspicious.
Boring footprints. I want to jump to sensationalist conclusions. Just as you look at the flowers, a gust of wind raises them from the roof, picking them up in the air. You catch a single white flower between your fingers. The rest fly off into the wind. It's a Maybell. The young woman looks at the Maybell in your hand. Just a glance, then takes a drag of her cigarette. The lieutenant gives you an acknowledging little nod.
I was just thinking, what a nice day for questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
She looks at the dried petals in your palm, then lightly touches one with her fingernail. Chipped white polish covers the nail. It's long and sharp, like a mini dagger. The petal crumbles on contact.
Pretty. Looks like a dried Maybell. Is that the one you caught? Sambo style? Why was there a flower on the roof? I don't know, officer. Because of the wind?
Or an admirer?
Admirers? I'm too old to be a debutante. And this place is no fashionable society.
She looks at chipped white.
Pretty. All right. I like it sudden.
Like for
Actually,
a nickname?
I guess.
Lelist. It just occurred. The questions I have assume some kind of foreknowledge on our part. Miss, you want...
There is... This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass in an untarnished golden halo. This medicine cabinet Six crumbling petals rest on your palm. They're white, a bell-shaped crown.
This is the Insulindian lily, called Maybells or Lucille's tears during the Revolution. Girls used to pin these on soldiers before sending them off to battle. Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. The revolutionaries, so the communards and the anarchists. White's their color, but the custom started in the suzerain's army, so it held meaning for the kingsmen too. It's about girls and boys more than sides. Girls sending off boys who are going to their deaths, then also dying themselves in the ruins from dysentery and consumption. It's a symbol of the Civil War. Yes, but not this early, not to my knowledge. It looks dried, preserved.
The petals feel dry and fragile in your hand. Water flows under the channel bridge, dark water. You rub your sides for warmth, but there is none. Inland, above the Martinez distributary, the channel that brought wastewater from the silk mills of Jamrock, and then dead bodies during the war. The wrinkled fingers of an old man crush flower petals, then sprinkle them in the stream like white salt. The fan stands. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall.
It's you again. What is it?
That felt good. Your heart's pounding nicely. You should tell people to fuck off more often. No, you shouldn't. You're an officer of the law. That's the spirit. Never forget. The whole world's a wooden house, and you're a goddamn flamethrower. The turn machine. Your bottles clunk.
Right to work! Right to work!
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
The file cabinet stands steady. The drawer. The payphone. This is the night.
Mr. Dubois, every worker... And for his fellow man. That's right, Mr. Dubois. You're turning out to be quite the individualist there. So, you had business with me? Mega rich light-bending guy? Oh my god. How did that get in there? Damn it to hell, Harry. I specifically told my guys to check all the containers for mega rich light-bending guys. Honestly, Harry, we might be moving all kinds of suspicious things through this harbour, but I won't be caught transporting the light-bending mega rich. I have a reputation to protect. You're right, Harry. I am a socialist. I'm going to catch the mega-rich guy inside the container and harvest his energy to power the harbour's fog lights. I shudder to think what you're going to tell me next, Harry. I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
There is no way to sway this man in any direction. He is unsuggestible and unswayable. Just tell the truth.
Just as I thought. Culturally antiquated mug collection. What a weasel. Pissing on Everart's Rainbow Coalition. Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good. By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps. Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire? I'm talking beasts, hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramoritsa, you name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant. No, Harry, the elephant is metaphorical and so is the village, but the mercs and their brutality are very real. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container. Yes, I'm an old man, Harry. My legs aren't what they used to be. They lift my office with that big crane. It's actually very fun. You should try it. But enough about me and my fun container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them, all hardened commando types. One of them got downright suicidal, getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy, the one who likes hanging out and trees.
By negotiator, you mean Joyce?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill.
An entire neighborhood of killers.
Potentially, Harry, potentially. We got arm wrestling champions, rowing club people, ex-coal miners, tough guys, all ready to spring into action for their home base. There's a militant wing inside the Union, a group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly. They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
Aren't you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinez boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them. Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal. How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry. These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
So you believe the scabs were organized by the security contractor?
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes. Of course, you're always one step ahead of me, Harry. I'm no genius. I'm in this position because people like me. Tribunal? That sounds serious, Harry. We Union men should be shitting ourselves. I wish you hadn't told me that. I'm gonna lose sleep over this. Let's change the subject.
He's clearly happy about the tribunal.
Oh, Harry, what do I really think about the tribunal? You're trying to climb to second base with old Everard before you've even courted him properly.
He wants you to do more things for him before.
Why? Believe me, he's not a killer. He's a nobody. Just a basement variety armchair fascist who comes up with needlessly complex conspiracy theories.
Did one of his complex theories turn out to be true?
What if it did? What if he took a whack in the dark? Started telling people the strike is funded by a protection racket that drove local shops out of business? What if he planned to write a hack piece to the local newspaper regarding these crazy theories he had developed? Just to stir up trouble. Wouldn't that be annoying? Journalism, Harry. I love it. You love it. And you know why? Because we've got nothing to hide. Let's keep it that way. Now, please, let's get back to the good stuff. The police stuff, Harry. I just see myself as one of you guys. Think of me as a sergeant or something. Let's crack this, Harry. Why? Believe me.
Did one of his...
What if it did? What if he planned to write a hack piece to the local news? Truly awful. It's great it didn't happen then. I personally love journalism, and I know you do too, Harry. That's because we've got nothing to hide, right? Now, please, let's get back to the good stuff. Oh, they are simply fine young men, all 7 of them. Exemplary union members, always working to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinez and Revachol in mind. Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets.
Separate one from the herd.
Oh, that would definitely be Fat Angus. His feet smell from a city block away, and he's always having noisy stomach troubles. Horrible, revolting guy. You would die, Harry. You would die, and in the process start a bloody and completely unnecessary war between the Debarders Union and the Citizens Militia. Angus, his ever-growling stomach, and his smelly feet are all part of the Union. You have as much right to arrest him as I have to arrest your partner here. Actually, less, because this is my hometown, my territory, and my backyard. You are a guest here, Harry. Please remember that. Oh, Harry. This is getting real grim, and there's no need for that. We are friends. But of course, it's the least I can do for my good friend Harry. I'll do it right after we've concluded this talk.
You can now go and tell Titus about this. See what he has to say.
Also, Harry, here's 5 real.
The lieutenant watches you pocket the banknote. He looks a little puzzled.
Good boy, a real team player. Now, do you have any more questions? Was it a good talk? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinez. And of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you. Yet. Yes, Harry, it's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
A man of the left, so you have to be a social democrat. He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
You're saying it, but I don't believe you. You know how it is, company snitches, agent provocateurs everywhere. I'm barricaded in this fortress of mine, and I need to get a message out. Will you help me?
And what would this entail?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
But, he thinks, it's your call.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm going to hand you the keys to Martinez, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing. I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth centre in Martinez. It will be righteous. We're going to get those teenagers off drugs and on roller skates. There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry. Yes, the little cul-de-sac on the coast, where all the men have drowned, in either the sea or the bottle, a gloomy place, doesn't have that Union attitude. They are just going to have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie. You bring joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. Here. You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I heard there was some trouble with the water lock, but it should be fixed now. Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then I'll know you're a solid socialist. Ah, yes, your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business. Most certainly, Harry. By all means, Harry. What's on your mind?
You might have noticed there's one hanging on a tree behind the hostel cafeteria.
Oh my. Don't take this question personally, but why would I get involved in this matter?
Mr. Clare, the man was hanged with a cargo belt, a steel-reinforced cargo belt. It's safe to assume the Union had something to do with the murder. Besides, getting the body down would benefit all of us. It's a stain on the neighborhood.
I can certainly see how having him up there might start affecting some real estate values. But of course, all joking aside, I am going to help you. Jean-Luc, the cop who bested you in physical combat is here, and he has a little dead body in a tree problem. Namely, he needs it to be taken down. Please extend him this courtesy. You can find Jean-Luc down at the gates, but you already knew that. Anyway, he's going to help you. See you soon, Debardeur. Just kidding, but not too much.
You take the legal documents out of the envelope, a 12 to 40 month construction period, and the zoning plan in the addendum.
I'm no property lawyer, but it looks fine. I like the print size. They're not selling or leasing anything. It's not a perfect solution, but...
The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall. A police badge on which... There it is again. Medicinal purpose. The porter reel. Rusting control panel.
Promising race pupil returns. So it was. You bested me in race combat to reach my superior, then had him give me an order. I salute your cunning, enemy. I will go and remove the body from the tree with my bare hands.
You're so noble, Measurehead.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on the bridge. That someone needs to be you. Both of you.
That would mean you're openly showing the people that you're taking the Union's side.
Yes. That is precisely what it means, homunculus. This is not going to happen any other way.
This is the uncomfortable result of not taking it down ourselves. I can live with a compromise.
Listen to your little friend. He is wise in his childlike way. His mysterious race may yet prove fierce competition to my heroic haplogroup. Babe, see that they stay here the whole time.
The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
So, you guys are like cops or something? Look at him. His craniometric perfection. Are you cops or what? Cool. I like men with guns and power. I'm cocky, by the way.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everott's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
Spoken by a mercenary pretending to be a worker.
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's Kuno. Then, the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with Ray's victory today. Farewell, ham sandwich. You are a Union man from now on. The unpromising Ray's pupil returns.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help?
Right to work! Officer! God damn it. Pull yourself together, Rene. What do you want? I prefer the old name. Insulindian Lily. Girls brought them to young cadets when they entered service. Wearing them on your cap was supposed to bring good luck. It used to be. But the communards were fond of them too. Call them revolutionary flowers. Bells of the revolution. You know what? Now, they brought me misery, false hope, and disappointment. The revolutionaries sullied them.
He stirred up some bad memories there.
But it wasn't the revolutionaries that sullied the ID for you, was it? She gave them to me too, and your jealous little heart just couldn't accept it.
Enough! I can go over these matters in detail with you, Gaston. But not while we have company. So, officers.
Maybells don't blossom yet, do they?
Maybe on some remote parts of the city they do. But I think you'll have to wait for at least a month. Ah, yes! King Philip III, on his steed. A reminder of what Revachol once was.
Oh, absolutely. at the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold.
A superpower, feared and respected. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood. A nation is only as strong as its leader. That's why it was such madness to try to...
Don't get started on that again. What happened, happened.
The Carabiner doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable resolve. No one and nothing can change this man's mind. He is as rigid as they come, still in that antique uniform. It's a symbol for him.
Right. Yes, the Debardeurs Union pays me to stand vigil during the night. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight. Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last Monday. It's a private matter. Nothing to do with your investigation.
You see, officer, René is the kind of man who would rather die than admit he needs medical assistance or, God forbid, seek it. A real man's man is just gonna ride it out.
I'm fine, goddammit. Mind your own business. It's nothing. Just got to cut back on coffee.
It's his heart.
No one. The boss has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday.
Yes. It's not actually an issue. I mean...
Look, officer. The container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabineers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words. Oh, I didn't mean to imply there's something wrong with that. I do it too. Everyone does it. It's an excellent side thing.
Yes, yes, yes. Can we conclude the topic of my guard booth now?
He is not going to become an entrepreneur.
Yes, yes. Like I said, I would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat arse of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's a little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food. Nothing personal, it's just a principle.
The only one you have.
Suddenly you realize how hungry you are. The last time you ate must have been God knows when. The sandwich looks like a culinary wonder. Well made and abundant in components. The author sure knew their craft. In addition to the obvious slice of ham, a fat one, You notice a brim of a tomato peeking from below. And is that mayonnaise?
Believe me, officer, I wish I could help you, but I need this sandwich to keep my blood sugar stable. In my age, you need to pay attention to these things.
You can barely hear him. The sweet smell of pickles in harmony with garlic butter and marinated onions emanating from the sandwich is driving your mind in a singular direction. It must be yours.
Fuck off! It's mine! Sorry, officer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a bad way. But the sandwich is mine. I'm not gonna share it.
When the dissidents come to rape our country, he hides. But try to get a bite of his dear sandwich and he gets claws? You're a special kind of vermin, Gaston.
Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week. But that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry. And I really would like to assist. You are both good guys. I can see that.
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the gauche caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Respects?
I'm not even anyone.
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Everyone in Martinez knows the Clare brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history. Only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. The blind leading the blind doesn't even begin to describe it, is what he said.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Lest we leave riddled with bullet holes. This animosity is ancient.
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debarders all know me. Oh, yes. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Vezavain. Turns the way the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate this socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence. Never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Evrard and I have these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little penman exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
That's just the way things work around here. No reason to feel bad about it. No, thank you. For sure, officer.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is... Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast.
Yes? Excuse me? Detective.
Oh, so you're in...
Some you time? This is a... Please do. We wouldn't want your regiment to speak.
The worn and beat...
You can revisit the bench if you ever...
Yes?
Hello, hello. Let me know.
All the old Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hjelmdal burning. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
You're not imagining it. Photon emissions? What is he talking about?
Hell yeah, man. I don't usually carry printed teas, but this one was just pure exemplar. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I'm a fan, but I do think the Hjelmdalaman saga is an integral part of our shared reality. Most people don't think that the man from Hjelmdal really existed, but they're wrong. I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
Very, very unique energies indeed. Geomagnetic ley lines, one might even say.
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I suppose that makes sense, yes.
Please go ahead and take it. Welcome to Hjelmdal.
Typical Martinez. You see rows of toy soldiers guard.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
That was a very smooth salesman's grin that almost comes off as earnest. You should learn from him. All the old boomboxes are there, blinking and waiting to whirl. All but one. Yours. The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito and bullet holes in the front. But the documents inside the envelope still lack the required signatures.
It's not going to be that easy. We need to dirty our hands with the signatures. I assume that's the goal here.
The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy. Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
The fuck are they on about?
Cop's gonna cut his shit up!
It's not about cutting. And no, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain, from autopsy to cleanup to social work. An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you've proven yourself able, usually after 5 to 8 years of field work. Mine is Lieutenant Detective. You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now...
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them. Unfortunately, no. They are better than nothing. Tell you what, I perform the anatomical side of things while you will take notes. That's right.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corporal. Amuse yourself with my frank manners.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with...
No, let's fill out the info form first. That's you.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The next box says
KK57-0803.0815. Next, we've heard the nom de guerre, Lely. It's better than nothing. Write it down. What's next? Date of birth? NA. Roughly 50.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook. Teeming with opportunistic microorganisms, letting out a foul-smelling diamine compound. Your eyes turn watery.
Mondial.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Naively, the lieutenant does not double-check your notes.
We're still going with March 4th, 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
None, at least not after the initial examination.
A strange word. Treatment.
They'd have to have incapacitated and carried him over. This man was more than a match for untrained dogwalkers.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then, somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbat puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else. The building is tall, 7 stories wind-wrapped in solitude. Most of the apartments are unoccupied. This was a suicide. The other, an accident. The small one. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today. 42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
I thought we decided to leave it to processing. Let's not turn this into some kind of circus.
Damn it. This is turning into some sort of mega puzzle.
I thought we decided to leave it to processing.
Damn it. This is turning into some sort of mega puzzle.
I'm afraid we can't continue before we've gone through both the external and internal examination first, thoroughly. Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system.
He's really doing it. The dead man's teeth cut into his gloved hands.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
From here, it looks as though the clown-faced man is screaming. The tendons of his jaw are torn apart, hyoid ripped from the force of the lieutenant's hands. No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there, sickly sweet air unlike anything living. You feel like throwing up, straight in that mouth. No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in. You manage to suppress the contractions trying to enter your stomach. All it takes is concentration. Through it, you see nothing but darkness. More meat and darkness.
There are ancient mysteries down there, Kobo. Ask me later.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there? Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request.
Brimming with cocaine.
Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal. Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The rest of the clothes have been removed post-mortem by scavengers in order to get to the victim's ceramic armor. Officers are in search of the missing pieces. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else. Patience. After the autopsy, before the body is taken away, there will be a window of opportunity. After the lieutenant has gone to sleep. I hope this has helped you, my liege.
Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature, below freezing.
The spine is bent more than the lieutenant compensated for. This buster's actual height is about 1.85. And no, you could not take him straight on.
Of course, I undercompensated. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
His hair feels wet, soaked with rain, cold to touch. Not that different from a living person. after a swim. The stench is suffocating. Strands of dark brown hair start sticking to your hand, like thread off a rag doll's head. There's brilliantine in there. He's combed his hair back with oil. More hair sticks to your hand. Hair off the rain-soaked head of a dead man. There are bumps and dips on the skull below. An alien landscape. For a fraction of a second you feel something, an irregularity, but then it's gone. Too minute to register in your mind. There, dead man. You were someone's child. It's all over now. The lieutenant watches you in silence. What was what? Brilliantine. There's brilliantine in his hair.
That was some sick shit, Sekopa.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs, consistent with stones thrown. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the bell so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the bell to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See? My pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
You are? This pig is Kuno's.
Being Kuno's pig has a steadying effect on your hand. Go with the flow, man. The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the yeast. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there, steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow. Snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
No! It's gonna happen, see?
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish. Marbling is present around the crotch. You should touch it. Doesn't feel like anything, just cold flesh under your finger. Unremarkable and unalive.
My pig's so fucking ill right now.
Oh, your pig's pretty sick, I gotta say.
This wasn't necessary. What's going on here? Why are you doing that? The lieutenant is unaware of what's happening in your head and why you're touching it. He merely expects you to write down his notes on the man's genitalia so you can move on.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are all combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin. We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars. Last item, hands.
His flesh is cold, icy.
Pleased to meet you. Where are you from and what's your name? I'm only fucking with you. I know where you're from. From Cappadocia. And your name is Il Corbo. What can I do you for, Il Corbo de Cappadocia? I did, Kobo. I did. Reminded me of when I was just a small boy. Before this happened to my face and my body. You did me a kindness there. We should do this more often. Be close like this, I mean.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too. Nothing. Just in case.
The corpse lay slouched to the side, oblivious to its surrounding.
All right. Bite marks, contusions on head and chest. Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Fatal injury by seagulls? No, he was not murdered by seagulls. Yes, it's... For God's sake, leave the box unticked then. What next?
Between the stench of death and a never-ending corpse examination, he's under some stress there. Better not to poke.
So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Right. Next. A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. What was that about no clawing around the neck? You'd be clawing for your life.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks, if we are lucky. I would not hold my breath. We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe a drink is in order?
Now, you see, that worries me. You will die if you drink. You know that, don't you? You are proving a useful detective. The organization would miss you.
Please get yourself together. The lieutenant from Precinct 57 thinks.
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
He's thinking, did I miss something? Your arms reach out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, slippery flesh, first with your fingertips, then under the palm of your hand. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a spider, your hand crawls over his features. Everything is silent. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop. You're on the right track. The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, delicate to touch. From the soft meat, teeth are budding. Hard pearls of bone in the gums and in the back of the mouth. Can you feel it? You're so close. Rip his jaws open now. Look in. A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your naked hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from the throat, and there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened.
Keep going.
Kuno nods, too. He takes a step closer. A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. The funk soul brother at the back of his head has gone dark forever. Your fingers slide into the remains of his limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. The undulations of the limbic system have ended. All is quiet. The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper.
Fucking cavity, see?
Quivering with awe. Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. All the muscles in your body harden. Time to enter him. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly. Cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Sharp, serrated material. The edges cut right into your skin. The pain is barely noticeable under the adrenaline rush.
Can you get to it?
There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside. This is the irregularity you felt before, the one that was too tiny to register consciously.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here.
Forget about the fucking exit wound, Beano. The pig is wearing him like a fuck puppet.
Her voice is absolutely sizzling with excitement. You pick the object between your index and middle finger. Feels sharp, like metal. You press your teeth together. Your jaw is clenched. All you need to do is just... The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth, covered in blood up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower, a blossom made of lead.
Fucking beautiful!
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-calibre rifle, some kind of brittle alloy, fractured on impact. Of course, you've earned it. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion collar, soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity, temporary cavity in brain tissue, small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing, we should amend injury number 3, ligament mark. New opinion, non-fatal, post-mortem, treatment. Yes, and the belt around his neck, the hanging, even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead. Dead. I have had my doubts since you showed me the tracks. Why did they carry him over? Why not march him, I thought. There was no satisfying explanation. There have been other signs too. Small details. Everything is too neatly designed for us to assign probable cause here, as we did, full-heartedly. Well, no more.
We almost fell for it, he thinks. Almost.
That's for us to find out. But this, it will make finding them just a little easier. To hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? What really happened here? Oh, you really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening. Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
We bag the corpse and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day. Work on the case, tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like this. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
All right.
There go those beautiful enamel boots. May they rest in processing. Oh well, in another lifetime.
I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.
bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. Kim has filled out the label on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found. Beside his orderly handwriting, the bullet looks especially sad, like a tiny, shriveled head of cauliflower. The squashed bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket has split open. It feels cold, even through the bag. The squished little thing has no idea. That sounds like something a police detective would do. First, you should learn all you can about this little guy. The jacket of the bullet is made of a yellowish metal. It has blossomed out to reveal a dark grey core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter. You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear. It feels standard. It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound. What's interesting about the bullet thus far? A jacketed bullet, which would have been shot from a military-grade breech-loading rifle, not from a muzzle loader like those typically found on the streets of Martinez. Very interesting. You have an unusual military-grade bullet in your hand. Now all you need is to find a gun that could fire it. The library card is folded. Whoever owned most of these, if lost, you take the legal documents out of the... This is not the cleanest bathtub in the world, but it's cleaner than you are right now. Ah, that soap scum smell. It smells like life, at least compared to you. The bathtub slowly fills with water. The water beckons. The water is only lukewarm, but still comforting, like amniotic fluid. A few beer cans are bobbing up and down along your flanks, like sad duckies. You feel nice and lonely, and so tired. Now you are alone with your thoughts in the tub, but it's easier than being alone with your thoughts outside the tub. They're not even really thoughts, just assorted sensations, none of them acute enough to focus on. Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whirls as the water cools. What are you doing? You're not some fat fish in a fucking aquarium. Time to get moving. You see the corpse. You can still smell the cadaver on you. It's going to take more than one bath to get rid of that stench. The waterline recedes as you stand. You are cold now. Your clothes stick to your still moist skin. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall.
So here you are. It's late and it's snowing. The snow is... well, it's not really snow, it's slush. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not going to happen here today. I just want to make that clear, Dimples.
Across the rusty water, that's La Delta, the financial district. In the mist-covered distance, towers rise as a rebuke to the poverty of this coast.
Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. The world? Those big words men like to throw around as though they had weight. Let's just admire this piece of the world we happen to have in front of us, eh? Here it comes.
So fast as to make it seem like the weather turns at her command.
Me? No. Just grew up on the sea. Know which way the wind's blowing and all. Knew the weather'd clear up once we got here. Otherwise, it would have been a less pleasant stroll, nay?
You should say something. Anything. Maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Ravisholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. And what about you? Keeping the name? Well then, Detective Cousteau.
The remains of the dying sun are reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay. Your mind clears for a moment as your senses take it all in. Not just the glass skyscrapers, fragile looking in the shimmering air. River Esperance flowing into the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us? You know, the best time to go out fishing is usually towards sunset, when the water is warmer.
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out, seemingly impervious to the sheen cast over everything else, shaking you out of your reverie. The sun does little for the dead, and those hopelessly lost in their own minds.
Oh, that was a bit of pride and a bit of superstition.
There's salt in the air, and the cries of the gulls and the skuas, grit of the sand and the green glint of broken bottles. But still your gaze always returns to the dazzling streaks of light, wherever they may be reflected, their fading opulence.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side, no matter what we do or who we are, for absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being, certainly no powerful organization or government. How can that be? I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team.
You would be incinerated, or worse. Maybe some general remarks before you say something big. Work your way up to the cool.
These aren't real fishhooks, silly. They're earrings shaped to look like fishhooks. A drunk called Rosemary brought them to me. I kept them.
She's right. They're made mostly of plastic. A cheap novelty gift you can buy from a flower shop or a kiosk. The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the setting sun.
Thank you. I'm half Ubi. My mother was from Ubi Sunt. Not a lot of sun there, I hear, though I've never been.
The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the setting sun.
It's enough that my fish goes there. 50 real a piece they ask for spring cod.
Out on the terrace of La Fru de Fond, a hip business lunch spot in downtown La Delta, glasses clink over a spread of oysters. Someone can't decide what to eat. Someone recommends a ceviche. Someone shields her eyes, trying to see across the bay.
Good one. I'm gonna go with the rope.
Say what? Something interesting? Impossible.
Aye. Brains generally aren't very good, are they? I prefer backs, arms, shoulders, lungs too. You know, the wind's gonna pick up soon, and I have to go, but... Have this. The sun's good, but it doesn't stick things. I've no use for it anymore. No. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat to me. Doubt it. But thank you for the company.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
Farewell.